Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Candy, and today I want to talk to you about just get started. Just get started. And at the starting gate, number one, there's no better time than the present. And I'm going to read a scripture in 2 Corinthians 6:2. It says, "Today is the day, now is the day of salvation." And this is the God that we serve. He works in the now. He moves in the present. We recognize this responsibility, this calling that God has placed in us, and to start moving in it, to start walking in it, to start moving forward in it. Because there's no better time than the present. There's another scripture that talks about don't withhold good from those to whom it's due when it's in your power to do it. Don't say to your neighbor, go and come back and tomorrow I'll give it, when you have it with you. And that's in Proverbs 3:27 and 28 that talks about you have already in you, God has already deposited in you that talent, that gift. And it's up to you to start putting it to work at whatever level it is. If it's in the initial, if it's in the middle, if it's an advanced stage, whatever it is, God tells us in His Word, don't leave it for tomorrow. Give it today. You have it today. Use it today. There's another scripture that says, don't boast about tomorrow, for you don't know what a day may bring. And that's in Proverbs 27:1. And that's the truth. The truth is that we don't know what tomorrow holds for us, but we definitely can do something about today. And what I'm talking about, just to remind you, is why it is that you need to start walking in your purpose, in your dream now, and just to get started. The second reason is that if you don't start now, another 6 months are going to pass by and it'll be harder to start. How many of us think about whatever goals that you set in front of you at the beginning of this year? Are you closer to checking them off? And I know for some of us, we'll say, you know what, Candy, life happens and it can sidetrack us. But if we're honest with ourselves, it's not always life. Sometimes, probably the majority of the time, it's us, it's me, it's you that happened. We get in our heads, we overthink things, you name it, whatever the reasoning is. The third thing is that there's this thing called God's timing. You know, in the book of Esther, it talks about a girl that was destined to be queen. And she was a commoner. She was a peasant girl. But the day came that God placed her in a strategic position. In Esther 4:14, this was her uncle talking to her because she, for whatever reason, she was afraid. She thought she didn't have it in her, which I'm going to be talking about in a minute. Some of the enemies that hinder us from just getting started. Whatever her reasoning was, she was not stepping into her destiny. And her uncle had a talk with her. And it's in Esther 4:14. It says, "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your family will perish." And who knows? This is the part that I'm talking about, God's timing. And it says, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. He says, look, the people are going to get delivered with or without you. God will make a way. But wouldn't it be better if it was with you? Wouldn't it be better if God didn't move you to the side because you were unwilling, or you allowed these three enemies that I'm going to mention in a bit to stop us from walking in our purpose? Wouldn't it be better that it be you? And not only that, he says that you come to your royal position for such a time as this. And some of you that are watching my video, you've been working in your purpose. You've been walking in your purpose. You are in a place, a strategic position, that you've arrived in your quote unquote royal position. But are you following through with whatever it is that God put in your heart in order to help your community, in order to serve the next person? Whatever it is that God has placed in your heart to do. Because sometimes in our journey, when we get to that place, maybe that first goal and we hit it, we kind of seem to forget or lose sight of what it is, where it is that we're going with this. You know, there's been times throughout the years where I'll hear about somebody passing away, and I'll think about the last time, the last memory that I have of them. And then I start to count the years. For example, if the last time that I spent time with them, I talked with them, let's say it was in 2005. And I heard that they just passed away in 2020. That's 15 years in between. And I wonder if they had known at the time that they would be gone in 15 years, would they have lived their life differently? And I ask myself that question every now and then. If I were to know that I have a year, 2 years, 5 years, would I live it differently? Jesus began his ministry when he was baptized by his cousin John the Baptist. And in 3 years, he revolutionized the world. He was making use of every moment he had here on earth. So what are you waiting for? Keep in mind that you're a brand, and I never get tired of saying that you are your best investment. So start that business, start your healthy journey, start exercising, eating right, start your YouTube channel, apply for that job and wow them, and refuse to give up. What blessings have you been sitting on because of, and this is where I'm going to talk about the 3 enemies that keep us from following through with God's plan for our lives. But what blessings have you been sitting on because, number one, because of fear. Fear that you're going to fail. You haven't even tried. Try. And if you fail, get up. Learn from that and try again. Or what have you been sitting on because of doubt? That you doubt that you're the person for the job at hand, that you have what it takes. Or maybe the third enemy is your unbelief, that you're always thinking that this is for someone else, that it's not for you, that maybe even God has favorites. Well, you know what? These enemies, these 3 enemies are always going to be there. They don't go away. You have to move. You have to step forward in spite of those mental obstacles. Don't allow that illness, that criticism, that bully, that bad upbringing to stop you from living out your purpose, your dream, the vision that God has put in your heart. The other day I was visiting with a friend, an old friend of mine, and they're going through a tough time right now. And as I was sitting there listening to them, I began to encourage them. And I began to tell them, you're strong. It's gonna be okay. It's tough, but you're gonna get through. And it's crazy because while I was doing that, while I was having that conversation with them, and I believe that God was putting it in my heart to share with them, I was going through my own struggles. And I was thinking in my head, what are you doing? What are you saying? How can you give them words of encouragement when you're struggling yourself? You know why? Because regardless of our state of mind, our condition, God is still God. And his word is true. And his promises are true. He's bringing you through. Don't settle for anything less than God's best. Be bold, be strong, and receive everything he has for you in this life. I'm going to wrap it up with this. The other day I was reading on one of the social platforms, I want to say it was Instagram, and somebody posted, wake up, chase your dream, repeat. In other words, do it all over again tomorrow morning. Wake up, chase your dreams, repeat. And so I hope this video helps in just getting started, whatever that looks like. You'll feel better. And you'll look back and realize that God is bringing you through. And so again, I hope this video helps. And as always, do something good for you. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.